Hi, my name is Abby Sweeney and I work at the Cancer Law Project, where we provide no-cost legal services to cancer patients at the Washington Cancer Institute. You're watching our recording of our Advanced Planning Workbook. You may have been invited to a cafe conversation to talk about advanced planning with us. There we have coffee, tea, cookies, and a virtual option to talk about advanced planning in a more relaxed setting. During a cafe conversation, we go through this workbook page by page, but we've created this recording so that you can go through the workbook independently and think about what matters to you most. We like to think of advanced planning like filing your taxes or changing the battery in the fire alarm. It can feel like a chore, it can feel difficult to get started, but we almost always find that once you do it, it provides you a sense of relief. And we know that it's important for every adult over 18 to start the process of advanced planning. You'll see that pages 3 through 14 are informational to help you start the process. Starting on page 15, we have worksheets for you to fill out in preparation for your meeting with an attorney who could help you finalize and execute your advanced planning documents. If you're using the electronic version of our book, you can click on the blue Advanced Planning Worksheets link and it will take you to fillable PDFs. Making a plan can give you peace of mind. What is advanced planning? Advanced planning is a process of reflection and communication. It leads to the development of legal documents intended to guide decisions about your future. So the first step is reflection. That's what you're doing now, walking through this workbook or attending one of our advanced planning cafe conversations. The next step will be communication with the people in your life who are important to you, who you want them to know what your values are. And finally, the third step is to come back to the Cancer Law Project, where we can help you develop the legal documents. For healthcare, advanced planning documents include 1. The durable power of attorney for healthcare, 2. The living will, and 3rd, a document titled The Appointment of Disposition of Bodily Remains. Advanced planning involves exploring your wishes, expressing your wishes, and then preparing others to honor those wishes. This toolkit has 2 parts. Part 1 is a workbook that helps you think about what you want, write it down, and discuss it with others. Part 2 contains worksheets that you can fill out to help your legal team create legal documents that protect your wishes by putting them in writing. Page 3, Tips for Getting Started. The process of having advanced planning conversations can be emotionally difficult. This workbook is designed to help you get started by thinking about your values and goals. But we want to emphasize that this is your advanced planning workbook. It's about you. So you should complete it at your own pace and use it in a way that makes sense for you. Remember that you can take small steps and you do not need to talk about every topic in this workbook in one conversation. You have already taken the important first step, which is getting started by using this workbook. We also note at the bottom of the page that the information provided in this guide does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice. We also want to remind you that you always have the right to change your mind and update your plans for advanced planning. You might make one plan now and then change your mind in a few years and make a different plan. That is completely okay. The important thing is that you're making a plan. Page 4 is titled, Do You Want Help Completing This Workbook? And we created this page because it can be overwhelming to think about advanced planning all by yourself. Advanced planning is flexible, and there is no one way to do it. But most people will talk with a relative, a friend, or someone they trust to begin the exercises in this workbook. We've allowed for a space where you might want to fill in someone who could help you. Think about if you have someone who explains things in a way that you understand, could help you make decisions without bossing you around, or cares about what is important to you. And remember that the Cancer Law Project is here to help. Let us know if you would like to talk with a member of our team to help you fill out this workbook. Page 5 is about your values. Before you can make decisions about what you want your healthcare to look like in the future, or before you can talk with loved ones about your wishes for healthcare, it's important to think about your values. After all, our values are the driving force behind our decisions. When it comes to values regarding medical treatment, quality of life, and living with illness, no one person is the same. Here are some of the most common values that people find important if they face a serious illness, permanent disability, or death. You'll note that at the bottom of the page, we have a space for you to take any notes about the values that you hold that will influence the kinds of choices you make for your healthcare. It will be useful for the person who you choose as your healthcare power of attorney to have a full sense of your values in the event that they ever have to make a decision for you. Some of the most common values we hear include valuing the ability to read, write, or sing, the ability to have and keep a sense of humor, the ability to live as long as possible no matter what, or to walk, to eat and taste. Some people value being awake and thinking for themselves, and others value being free from pain as much as possible, maintaining dignity, the ability to communicate with others even if they cannot speak, the ability to speak with loved ones, or maintaining as much control over one's life as possible. Do any of those values feel important to you? What about any other values? Page 6 outlines the documents you may wish to create when you're thinking about advanced planning or working with a cancer law attorney to create your advanced plans. The durable power of attorney for healthcare is the one we'll start with. It says who you choose to speak for you to make decisions about your medical care, if you are unable to speak for yourself to make those decisions. It can also be helpful if you just want someone to be involved in your medical care. Your proxy, or your agent, will be the one that uses this document to help you. A living will, which is often part of a durable power of attorney for healthcare, is the part of the document that says what you want in regard to specific decisions about your medical care. And it's used if you are unable to speak for yourself to make decisions about your medical care. Your proxy and your medical team will use the living will to honor your wishes and your values. Finally, the document titled The Appointment of Disposition of Bodily Remains says who you choose to make decisions about your body after your death. It's used after death by your agent to ensure that your wishes are carried out. In the cafe conversation, we like to share as many real-world stories as we can. We invite our participants to share their values, their circumstances, and their stories, and we share some of our favorite hypotheticals. In the workbook, we've included a few to get you thinking. Ayana's story. Ayana always attends her mother's medical appointments with her. She enjoys being a second pair of eyes and ears for her mom. When Ayana's mother faints after taking a new cancer medication, she was rushed to the hospital. And on the way there, Ayana was not allowed to be in the ambulance with her mom. Once her mom was feeling better, but tired and taking a nap, Ayana tried to call her mother's cancer doctor to talk about the medication's side effects. But she was not successful without her mom joining her on the phone, so she probably had to wake her up from the nap. Ayana feels a bit stressed about how to help her mom in the future. What kind of advanced planning documents would be helpful to Ayana and her mother? Well, we would talk about it and likely conclude that Ayana's mother will be more likely to get the care that matches her values and wishes if 1. She has a durable power of attorney for healthcare, naming Ayana as the person who can make healthcare decisions for her and ride in the ambulance with her. And 2, Ayana and her mother have discussed her values and wishes. Finally, it will be helpful if Ayana's mother has created a living will that can help Ayana know what her mother wants, even in moments where she cannot speak for herself. Now think about Bill's story. Bill has cancer. He feels strong and happy now, and he's ready to start treatment. However, this seems like a good time for Bill to make sure that his loved ones understand that Bill wants his body to be cremated when he dies. Bill does not want to be buried. Bill worries that his sister Haley would bury him anyway because she has a different religious belief. Bill trusts his nephew Dylan and wants Dylan to be the person who is in charge of his body after Bill dies. So, what kinds of advanced planning documents would be helpful to Bill? You probably recognize that Bill would benefit from having a conversation first with Haley and Dylan about his wishes. We always emphasize that communication is the most important part of advanced planning. These documents aren't worth very much if the people that are named in them don't know what you want. We also said that Bill would benefit from creating an appointment of disposition of bodily remains document, which would name Dylan as the person to make decisions after Bill's death. And once Bill has these documents in place, he has peace of mind to continue enjoying his life. Page 9, choosing your power of attorney. The person you choose to make decisions for you, if you cannot make decisions for yourself, is also called your medical power of attorney. This person can also talk to your healthcare team because you have designated them as someone you trust. You want to choose someone who will honor, respect, and follow your wishes. It should be someone who's willing to speak on your behalf, who's available for you when you need them, is willing to act according to your wishes and understands what is important to you, and finally is willing to ask important questions to better understand the possible outcomes of different medical decisions. Here we have another hypothetical. Think about Crystal. Crystal has 2 children, Kyrie and Antonio. She loves them both dearly, and she's worried about who she should name as her power of attorney because she loves them equally and she's afraid to pick favorites. Kyrie lives in the same apartment building as Crystal, and it turns out that Antonio just moved to Alaska because of his job. He is thousands of miles away from his mother. So, what advice would you give Crystal? What we would say to Crystal is that choosing your healthcare attorney is exactly what it sounds like. You're choosing a person who can show up to help you make decisions in a situation where you might not be able to make them for yourself or by yourself. It is not a decision about who you love the most. Crystal can explain this to her children. And in her situation, it probably makes sense to choose Kyrie because he lives nearby. And if the situation changes, Crystal can always amend the documents. Page 10 gives some suggestions of conversations we suggest that you have with your healthcare agent. Just like all of us have values that guide our lives, we also have concerns and worries that may be unique to us. And when you have conversations about advanced planning, it can be helpful to identify what's most concerning or troubling to you if you face a serious illness. Because everyone is different, and you want your loved ones to have a sense of your thinking. For example, one person might worry about being in pain, while another person might be worried about leaving their loved ones behind. So here are some things you might want to discuss with the person you choose as your power of attorney for healthcare. We've added boxes to the left so you can check these off as you have moments to chat with your chosen proxy about them. What concerns you about the end of life? What will a good day look like, even as you experience illness? If possible to choose, where would you like to be at the time of your death? Home, the hospital, somewhere else? And what would be important to you in the days and weeks before your death? On page 11, we have a place for you to think about your wishes towards the end of life. Here are some common wishes we hear. To die at home, to have friends close by, to be able to talk about what scares me, to trust my doctor, to be treated the way I want, to be able to be kept clean, to have my financial affairs in order, not being connected to machines, to prevent arguments by knowing that my family knows what I want, to be at peace with God or my religion, not being short of breath, to have an advocate who knows my values, to have a doctor that knows me as a whole person, to have my family with me, to keep my sense of humor, to be mentally aware, to be free from anxiety, and to have my family feel prepared for my death. You can put a check mark by the wishes that you know you would want to discuss with your loved ones. Page 12, care at the end of life. Because of advancements in science, many treatments can actually keep you alive, even if there's little or no chance that the treatment itself is going to reverse or cure your condition. When a person's health declines, some people prefer palliative care, which focuses on symptom management and comfort care. Other people want more aggressive treatment. On page 12, we have a few situations for you to think about. In each situation, we've created a spectrum where you can note whether you would want all the treatments that might keep you alive longer, or only comfort care, or somewhere in the middle. We hope that this is a visual that will be helpful as you have what can be a difficult conversation with the people that you love. The situations include: what would you want if you could no longer recognize or interact with family and friends? If you could no longer think clearly? If you were in severe, untreatable pain? And if you were permanently dependent on machines for breathing, nutrition, and hydration? Again, you can check off each question as you've had a chance to think about it or discuss it with the people in your life. Finally, page 13, strategies for starting this conversation. Conversations about advanced planning may not be easy. Actually, I think they're never easy, but they are important. And here are some final strategies you can consider when you share this information with others. Show them this workbook. Let them flip through it before you even have the conversation so that they know what kinds of themes and questions are likely to come up. Maybe share a story about someone you know. For example, do you remember what happened to so-and-so? Her family went through so much. I don't want you to have to go through that with me. You could also blame it on someone else. For example, your healthcare team. My healthcare team at Washington Cancer Institute asked me about advanced planning. They said I should talk to you. Some people might try to avoid the conversation. And here are some tips we have for how to respond. First, be direct and straightforward. It is okay to acknowledge that this is difficult. For example, you might say, I know this is difficult for you, but I need you to listen to me. This is very important to me. You might point out what could happen if you don't talk. For example, if we don't have this conversation, we could end up in a worse situation. I'd like to avoid that. Finally, you might want to pair your advanced planning documents with additional documents to help others take care of important matters if you cannot. If you want additional resources to help you plan and keep track of things that are important to you, please let us know. These might include financial directives, templates for giving instructions about the care of loved ones and the care of pets, templates for keeping records of your employment, insurance, banking, or social security information, or for keeping track of contact information, or recording instructions about the upkeep of your home. Let the Cancer Law Project know if you want additional resources, and we can provide them. The following fillable sections are meant to help you start planning your advanced documents. Filling in this workbook is not the same as creating a legally binding advanced planning document, but we do hope that by filling out this workbook, you will be better prepared to meet with an attorney to discuss the next steps in getting these documents created. On page 17, there's a place for you to fill out your personal details, as well as the contact information for the people that you plan to give copies of your advance plans. You might want to give copies to anyone who might be involved in your care, including family members and doctors, and the Cancer Law Project can help you make copies. We also have created a place for you to keep track of when you have provided a healthcare provider or doctor with a copy of your plan. We can always help you make sure that your advanced care plans are part of your medical record at the Washington Cancer Institute. On page 16, we've shared that if you're working with a Cancer Law Project attorney to help you complete the documents, it will be a good idea to keep your workbook with you during the meetings. Your attorney will be familiar with the workbook and will be able to talk to you about pages that you found difficult or that prompted questions. We have space here for notes during your meeting with your attorney, as well as for you to keep track of your attorney's contact information. Remember that this is your plan. Take your time when working with an attorney, ask questions, and remember that you can always amend or change the documents at a later time. On page 19 is where we list the place for you to print the name and home address and telephone number of the person that you choose. Again, this is not your official power of attorney for healthcare, but if you choose to work with the Cancer Law Project, your attorney will put this information into a final legal document for you. We've also left a space for you to choose a second person. If the person you choose as your power of attorney is not available or is unable to act as your power of attorney, do you have someone else that you would want to choose? Page 20 will be used to help you fill out the living will section of your advance plan. If you're not able to speak for yourself, it is important that you know your preferences about medical care. It is important for your medical providers to know your preferences. Do you have an opinion about whether or not you would want the following treatments? What we've done here is created a glossary. We have 3 treatment options, which we call option 1, 2, and 3. And we also have a few medical states. We let you consider each scenario and then select what your preferred treatment option would be in that scenario. As an overview, the 3 treatment options are the following. Treatment option 1 is to be kept comfortable and allow natural death to occur. You don't want any medical interventions used to extend your life. You don't want to receive nutrition and fluids by tube or other medical means. Now, if you choose option 3, which is most different from option 1, you would be saying that you want to try to extend your life for as long as possible using all available interventions and in reasonable medical judgment that would prevent or delay death. And if you're unable to take nourishment by mouth, you would want to receive nutrition and fluids by tube or other medical means. And treatment option 2 is in the middle. It says, keep me comfortable and allow natural death to occur. I do not want medical interventions used to try to extend my life. If I am unable to take enough nourishment by mouth, however, I do want to receive nutrition and fluids by tube or other medical means. We've also defined 3 progressive states of illness for you to think about which treatment option you would want in each of those. Those include terminal condition, persistent vegetative state, and end-of-life condition. Again, we know this can be very difficult to think about, but we hope that this page and this visual will be a resource that you and your loved ones can use as you think about your plan. Pain management. Palliative care, which is also called supportive care, is care that is designed to provide relief from the symptoms and stress of an illness, but not cure the illness itself. At the end of life, some people want pain medication that can help them feel more comfortable at the final stage of their illness, even if this medication might hasten death. On the other hand, some people do not want anything that would hasten death, including pain medication. So we have a space here for you to think about what you might want. Would you want pain medication, even if it might hasten or make faster death? An optional part of advanced planning is deciding whether or not you would want to donate your organs after your death. Your organs, which include your lungs, heart, kidneys, liver, pancreas, and intestines, can be donated to save the lives of people who are waiting for organ replacement. Or some people want to donate their body to science, which means that it might be used for research about curing future diseases. And other people do not want to donate their organs. There is no right or wrong choice. Do you know if you'd want to donate your organs? Either way, this can be recorded in your advanced planning documents so that everyone knows your wishes. You can also let the Cancer Law Project know if you want to record your preference for organ donation in a separate sheet that won't be visible to your medical providers. Finally, we end the workbook with some important next steps. Once you have completed the advanced planning documents for healthcare, first of all, congratulations, you made a plan. The Cancer Law Project can then help you make sure that the medical team at the Washington Cancer Institute has a copy, but you should keep the original copy. Keep it in a place where it can easily be found. We often recommend you put it on the fridge with a magnet. You want to give your doctors copies of your advanced planning documents, and you definitely want to give your chosen healthcare proxy a copy of the document. We also suggest taking a picture of your document on your smartphone or scanning an electronic version to a computer for safekeeping. And as always, feel free to contact us at the Cancer Law Project for your questions about advanced planning or to get started with the process yourself. Thank you.